Hello, everybody. Really glad that you joined me. Today, we're going to talk about something that I believe is something that we all need to get better at. Are some of us good at it? Yeah, but there's plenty of room for all of us to improve. We're going to talk about communication. So I hope that you join me. It shouldn't be more than about 10 minutes, and we can take away some knowledge about understanding better when it comes to effective communication. Okay, so here we go. When it comes to communication, I want you to think about something. I want you to put your mindset somewhere for a moment. If you were to get on Google or you were to type into some sort of search engine and you were to say something like, I want to have a better relationship, or I want to be a better parent, or I want to be a better leader, and you asked it to give you some ideas on how you can do that, chances are really, really high that one of the things that it's going to tell you to do is to have better communication. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to help us understand that there's 4 main categories when it comes to communication, 4 types of styles when it comes to communication. I want to break that down. I want to help us understand that a little bit better so that we can start beginning to be aware of how we communicate and how others communicate with us. Why? Because awareness is going to take us to that next level of effective communication. Now, the first one that we have to talk about is passive. As you looked at this whole screen here, you see several different ones. We're going to break that down, but the first one that we're going to step into is passive. When it comes to passive communication, some things come into play. Just some simple word phrases that I want you to hear when it comes to passive communication. It may sound something like, that's fine. Oh, we can go ahead, that works for me. What we're doing is we're agreeing, because when it comes to a passive communicator, when it comes to passive communication style, what we're doing is we're trying to keep the peace. We want nothing more than to stay in the comfort zone that we're at. We don't want to erupt anything. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to push outside that comfort zone. We don't want to express what we got going on or the thoughts that we got going on. We just want to be right there, comfortable. We think that not saying anything, we think that not expressing our thoughts is going to help us move forward and maintain the relationship that we have. Are you a passive communicator? Do you know somebody around you that's a passive communicator? Well, let's move to number 2, because I really just want to break these down so that we can understand. The next one is passive aggressive, which is another style of our communication. When it comes to passive aggressive, you're going to hear things such as, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you always have something to say. Or, don't worry about me. I don't have anything to say. Passive aggressive communication, in my view, in many views, is the number one style of communication that creates conflict, that creates challenge, that takes it down a path that we don't want it to be. Why? Because we're not expressing how we feel, we're not expressing our thoughts through a manner that is effective. We're doing it through backbiting, through sarcasm, through things like that that really have no direction forward. What they do is they create challenge, they create conflict. Do you know somebody like that? Is that you? Is that me? Yeah, I think that all of us have been here a time or two, but when it comes to these communication styles, what we need to do is we need to be aware of them. We need to understand one thing before we move on to the next. I think that all of us will spend time in each one of these categories. Understanding which one we use the most is probably where we need to be, a sense of awareness. So let's move on. The next one is aggressive. When it comes to aggressive communication, things happen, things are said such as this. This is the way that we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. Basically, this individual that uses aggressive style communication is, hey, my ways are the most important. My ways, my needs need to be met, not taking into consideration others. An aggressive form of communication, we have to remember this when it comes to aggressive forms of communication. Is there a time for it? Yes, there is. Let's think about that in a bigger context. Maybe there's safety involved. Maybe there's something that's happening or something that's going on that we need to have a decision made right now. There's not enough time, effort, or energy to move forward so that everybody can have the opportunity to give their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions. But when it comes to aggressive communication, if that's all that we use, guess what? We're going to find ourselves not in a comfortable position very often. And if we're on the receiving end of that aggressive communication, all it does is shut us down. All it does is help us to get to a passive communication faster. Aggressive communication, is there a necessity for it periodically? Yes. But this doesn't need to be the only way that we need to communicate. Why? Because then it'll be less effective. Now, the last on the list is, in the fourth part of the 4 styles of communication, is assertive. Now, assertive communication is where, quite frankly, this is where we want to be. This is where we need to be. Assertive communication is this. Here's my thoughts, but let me get my thoughts out or my idea out, and I look forward to hearing your idea. Why? Because I think that we can all move forward effectively. When it comes to assertive communication, what our goal is that everybody comes out on the other side functioning better, moving towards flourishing. We want everybody to have a growth mindset when it comes to assertive. Assertive in this list of communication styles is one thing. Assertive is where we want to spend the most of our time. Do all of us function in each one of these positions each and every day? Probably. But here's the homework that I want you to think about. And as we move to part 2 of communication, I'm going to give us some great stuff as far as how we can get better in these, and I'm going to give us a model on how we can think and act and move in the direction of better, more effective communication. Here's the homework. Part 1 homework is this. I want you to think about each one of these. I want you to read on them. I want you to get on the internet. Whatever you do, I want you to understand what mode of communication, what style of communication you use most. And here's part 2 of that homework. I want you to look outward. Those that you communicate with on a daily basis, on a regular basis, what styles are they using? What styles is happening in your home? What styles are happening in your relationships? What style does your leader use? If you're the leader, what style do you use? That's where I want you to be. Why? Because when you move to part 2, we need to have a good understanding and awareness of what our communication styles are. Okay? So go do your homework. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I think that just that quick little understanding of what communication styles there are out there. The four styles: passive, passive-aggressive, aggressive, and assertive. Just understanding them and having a better understanding of what we use and what others use around us can help us bring more awareness so that we can start communicating effectively. Hey, join me on part 2 so that we can move in the direction of having effective communication.